Please let me start from the previous, paragraph where we left reading. Lefate Park today is one of the most racially integrated neighborhoods. That means people from different races are living there. Okay, neighborhoods in the city. It is economically stable, despite of the fact that Detroit has suffered enormous population loss, because as it is saying that remaining part of the Detroit has already suffered. Many people have been moving to its suburban areas, but this Lafayette Park stayed stable. People living here didn't move out, and then it stayed stable economically as well. So now we here means the researchers, obviously, they wanted to know what residents think about this unique modernist environment created by a famous architect. So, they wanted to take the opinion of the residents of this Lafayette Park and how they confront and adapt it to meet their needs. What do we mean by adapt? I have already explained this meaning somewhere, I guess. Can anyone tell me? There were two words, adopt and adapt. Uh-huh.
And when it is so,
Sorry?
when it is oh, adopt
Abdurrahman,
when it
your voice is not very clear.
uh,
Adopt means
adopt means when you add I mean
when you simply copy something, you just accept it 100%. Then it means you are adopting something. Okay? But if I am making some changes, although I'm adopting it, but with some changes according to my needs, that means I'm adapting it. Like I gave you an example that day. If I go, let's say I shift, I move to the United States, and there I just adopt their eating habits, and in that actually means that I would start, let's say I would start eating burger, but that burger may have some pork meat in it. Right now, what I will do, and not only pork meat, but let's say that burger may not be very spicy, but I'm used to of eating more spices. So what I would do, I will just replace that pork meat with some other kind of meat which is halal, and I will add some spices into it. That means now I'm just making some adjustment to it to make it fit for my needs. Clear? So now, how they confirmed, that means how they oppose if there's something against their need, how they deal with it, and how they accept it with some changes into it. So now, during our research, we were struck, we were astonished. Now, this word is indicating the view of the researchers, that they were astonished by the casual attitude that many residents have towards the architecture. What do you mean by casual attitude here?
They don't care. They don't
Yeah, they
even
don't
bother
care.
about
They
it.
don't. They were not bothered that, well, we are living in townhouses which were created by by very famous architects. Like if I say, many people say, well, Paris is such beautiful city, and there's a city of beauty and perfumes and blah blah. Then my impression would be like, if I would go to Paris, it there would be beauty all around, and there would be people spraying some perfume into there all the time. But once I will go there, people actually living there, they may not feel it at all. They will be very casual about, okay, where they are living. But for an outsider, it may be a very big thing. Similarly, researchers of this study, they had a very different opinion about the famous architecture mice, but people living there, they had a casual attitude towards this. Then again, Detroit has an abundance of beautiful housing options. So, second thing is that why would people only be concerned about Lafayette Park? Because Detroit has got many other options, living options. And in that, it explains a range of options like Victorian mansion and blah, blah, beautiful art and craft. So, living in a townhouse built by a renowned architect isn't as noteworthy as one might think. So now this is his realization now, or researchers' realization, that people were, very casual about that. They had no special feeling that they are living in townhouses which were constructed by some very famous architects. So he says the townhouses built by renowned architect isn't the noteworthy as one might think. Now, at the same time, such nonchalance. What do you mean by nonchalance? Means a casual attitude. The casual attitude that we were, just discussing is a mark of success. Now, this sentence is very, very, I liked it very much actually. This gives a very, very strange or different approach towards life as well. Now, at the same time, such nonchalance is a mark of success. The homes are great because they work, not because they come affixed with a famous name. What is the meaning of this thing? Any
See,
random guess?
it is explaining that about the. It's actually supporting the statement in the third line that casual attitude.
Uh-huh.
It again mentions that in one line, I would say that it's not the art of an architecture; it's actually the house which is appealing the people. They are not concerned about who has made it, who's designed it.
Okay.
They are actually, uh,
But this gives us,
you can say,
yeah,
quality.
you're right, you're right. This gives us a very different view, actually. Look, you know, one day, what's happened now, this is my practical experience, right? One day, my car, it broke down and, I had to borrow my friend's car, okay? And once
Okay.
I sat into my friend's car, then I realized, oh my God, his car, is too deep to sit in. My car has got some height, and I'm very comfortable in that. But I never realized that comfort before I sat into my friend's car. That means anything that is meeting my requirement, if it is working well, sometimes we may not notice it, that it's working fine. We will only notice once we find something against our need. Like if something is not working, only then we would notice, oh my God, something has gone wrong. So that means sometimes not noticing something is its beauty.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have to something very extraordinary in something, let's say in a house. When you go, we just look at the house and you say, oh my God, it's so and so beautiful, or it's spacious or something. Sometimes what happens, you just use an item or an object or a house or whatever, and it meets your all of your needs, and that is its
Okay.
beauty. You getting it? We
Yeah.
may not have to have something very different or something very, out of box. Anything that is meeting our requirement, that means that thing is beautiful. So that is its success. The success of those townhouses was not in the name that came with those townhouses, that these were built by so and so big architect, but actually these were because success was hidden in this thing, that it worked for everyone. Indeed, their beauty isn't always obvious. There is a kind of Austrian uniformity to the Lafayette Park townhouses when viewed from the outside. Like its beauty is not very obvious. Like if you stand outside the houses of these or townhouses of this area, you may feel that, well, everything is made in the same shape. There's a boring kind of similarity in them. but some visitors find them unappealing. Like if someone has heard that these are made by very renowned architect, and once they go there and they say, oh well, what the hell is this, the thing that is made by that architect? So this was not very appealing for them. One contractor described them as bunkers, like bunkers of the army. They are just made in a row, okay, like this. I hope you have seen the bunkers. So now the interior layouts are nearly identical. The units are compact in size, and some people find them too small. Though the floor to ceiling windows on front and back of the each building open in the living spaces to the outside. So this is the general layout of the houses. So now let's go back and see that exercise. So now who will tell me Mies van der Rohe designs influenced other architects in the Detroit? Remember one thing. In the beginning, whenever you start true, false, not given questions or yes, no, not given question, just assume that everything is not given. Everything, all of these are not given. Okay? If you find
Okay.
something supporting it, it will be true or yes. If you find something against it, it will be false or no. And if you don't find anything, then it means it's not given. Its status would remain same. So we didn't find any information actually which talked about that his designs influence other architects in the Detroit. We haven't seen it yet. So far it's not given, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Not given.
not given. So the exterior of each building in Lafayette Park has a distinct style. We have just seen. Is it this?
False.
This is false. That means no. Please be careful. If it is yes no questions, then say no. Don't write false in that case.
Right. That's right.
Okay. Then good architect allows it. Now for this number 5, just read the line and then we will go back and read the last paragraph. Good architecture allows its occupants to reveal their identity. A good design is a design which will allow occupants, the residents of that place, to show their identity. Now this sentence is again very philosophical, and we'll try to understand its meaning after reading the passage. Okay. Now, one last paragraph is left. While they may have strong aesthetic preferences, the people living in that area may have different aesthetic choices. The residents we spoke with do not necessarily favor mid-century modernism in their interiors or architecture. Now, everyone has got his or her own aesthetic sense or aesthetic choices, right? And then people whom these researchers met, they were they didn't like the mid-century modernism in their interiors. That means now this sentence tells us a very different story. Like these houses were constructed in the mid 20th century. Can you see this? And let's say these researchers, from this sentence, I can feel that these researchers were maybe visiting them in 1980s or 1980 or maybe in 2000. Why? Actually, before 2000, 1980s or 1990. Because for them, modernism of 1958 is no more a modernism. It's an old thing now.
Yes.
Mid-century modernism is not a modernism. Now that is past. That is history. Right? So people didn't like the modern styles of these days in their interiors, but they make it work. But good thing was that it worked for them. How? Several people remarked on the way the interiors in the Lafayette Park townhouses can function as a blank canvas. Like 7 people, they said that, well, the beauty of these houses are that they just act as a blank canvas for you. If someone is like if someone is like me is or someone like me like more the old fashioned things, okay, I can
Mm.
design my interior according to my choice of fashion. Now, if there's some other one, let's say Abdurrahman, he likes some tiles and some different style, which is very latest in those houses. He can simply you know put or decorate those things according to his choice. That is the beauty of
Okay.
these houses, that they act as a blank canvas, and
Okay.
everybody can convert those interiors according to his or her own liking. So these act as a canvas for variety of decorating styles. Indeed, the best design doesn't force personality onto its residents. That means, let's say if there's a design and it is like an old design, it is giving me some old royal look, okay? And I am not kind of a person who like that style. So it means this design is forcing a personality onto me. Whenever, let's say, Abdurrahman will visit my place, he would say, "Wow, sir, you really like such royal old things?" And I would say, "No, man, I don't like it. This design is forcing
Okay.
its personality onto me." So he says, the writer says that indeed the best design doesn't force a personality onto its resident. Instead, it helps them to bring out their own personality. Like the
Okay.
design should be such that whatever personality I have, I can reflect it into my house design, right? So now, can you tell me, is it yes, no, or not given?
Yes.
It's yes.
Yes.
The last index. Okay. So, but this paragraph, this passage were very tricky. I hope you have seen that meanings were not very clear. There were some
Okay.
in-depth meanings. So you have to, because this is section 3, so you have to, try to go into the depth sometimes. But that is not the case all the time. Okay, now identifying grammatical features, we have already seen that grammar actually helps you to find or confirm the answers about which you are doubtful. Okay, now before we move on, there are two kind of summary completion tasks, and I have been talking about it a lot many times. One with a box of possible answers, and one without a box where you need to choose words from the passage to complete the summary. I hope you know it. I have shown you both of these examples. Now we will actually cover both of these examples one by one. With a box of possible answers, the option may be actual words from the passage or synonyms of the words in the passage. For summary completion tasks without a box of answer, consider the grammatical features of the summary. Choose the words from the text that accurately complete the summary. Now, let me explain this thing through an example. And here, use the title of the summary. This is very important. Who will tell me? Who will tell me that what are those kind of questions in which there is a separate heading for those questions? Can you name? There were certain type of questions, and I have been, emphasizing on that.
So,
There's a mhm.
like blanks, and we find blanks and you have to fill in the words, or
No,
you can say sentence completion or
no, no,
flowchart.
no, no, no. Oh, yes, flowchart, yes, but sentence completion, no. Flowchart
Okay,
completion, summary completion, table
right?
completion, diagram completion.
Clear.
Okay, flowchart, diagram, summary, and what else? What did I say? Summary, flowchart, table completion. Sorry, and
Table
notes,
completion.
notes completion. Okay, notes completion as well.
Right.
So now a summary is different from the set of notes because it consists of a complete sentence that are connected through together grammatically. So you need to carefully read and understand the summary, decide what type of word is needed to complete each gap in summary, and then locate and blah, blah, blah. So let me show you these things through an example. First of all, look at the box of possible answers and decide what type of each word it is. Is it a noun or is it a verb? Is it an adverb or adjective or what? Settled. What do you think?
Verb.
Uh-huh. Only verb or
Again.
there's another choice as well?
the told.
It can be used as a verb. It can be used as an adjective as well. If I say I'm settled here for 10 years, it means it's a verb. But if I say people of that place or that Lefate Park are well settled,
Adjective.
adjective,
Adverb.
yeah, adjective, they are settled,
Okay.
right? Like if I say they are poor, they are settled, they are disturbed, in that case, it's settled, right? Adapt, this is verb, obviously.
Yes.
Neutral, adjective,
Neutral.
Adjective.
Adverb. Adjective.
adjective. Poor,
As
Verb.
adjective.
verb, how come, Amjad?
Adjective.
Poor can be used as noun and as adjective both. If I
Oh,
say
right.
help the poor, it means it's
Yeah, right.
noun. It's noun. But if I say poor residents,
Poor
then
man.
it means it's kind of a poor cat. It's an adjective. Afford,
So
Afford.
it's a verb.
Verb.
afford.
It's a verb.
Yeah. Okay.
I can.
And then strongly,
Adverb.
hmm. Adverbs generally have ly at the end. Generally
Yeah,
speaking.
right.
Okay. Right. So now we have already covered this exercise. Actually, the exercise that I'm going to show you. Now have a look on this. The residents of Lefate Park. This heading. This heading talks about what? This heading tells you that it is all about the residents of that place. If you see the first sentence, the Lefate Park was originally quite a dash area. That means people living at this place before Lefate Park was developed or built, they were kind of what thing. Nowadays, the area is unusual because its residents, nowadays, these residents are more settled or whatever. In general, the
Okay.
residents of Lefate Park feel quite about the famous architect, but the residents do appreciate that they can this. Okay, I've just skipped it. And actually, I've done a skim reading. I want to show you an exercise that you have already done. Do you remember this exercise? In this, we
Yes.
saw that Lefate Park, without looking at the passage I told you, Lefate Park was originally quite a dash area of Detroit. So quite a settled area is a possible answer. Adapt is not a possible answer. Quite a neutral area is a possible answer. And quite a poor area is a possible, but not afford and strongly. Do you remember?
Right.
So in that, we also saw that nowadays the area is unusual because its residents are more than those in the other areas of the city. So either here it is settled and here in number two it's poor, or it's in number one it is poor and in number two it is settled. And then from this word more, we saw that if it would have been poor, then it should have been poorer, not more poor. So that means more settled is the right option. I hope you remember that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And even if you don't remember, you are recalling it at least. So in general, the residents of the Lefate Park feel quite neutral about the famous architect. We have just seen it now.
Yeah, right.
But the residents do appreciate the fact that they can adapt the townhouses. That means they can change them according to their needs. Adapt,
Yes.
right? And make them their own. We have just seen it. Now, this sentence you might not be able to recall. If you see here, in this line. The townhouses were built between this and this time on a land previously occupied by a working class neighborhood. What does it mean? Working class
Oh,
neighborhood means poor.
not rich people.
Okay.
Yeah, not rich people, right? That means poor. Got it? So
Yes.
we already found the answers through grammatical features. So you see how sure you would be if you use this grammatical feature to confirm that your answers are correct or not. So in our practice sessions, I will show you that you would make mistakes in which, instead of a verb, you would be using nouns. And when I will tell you that, look, this was very easy to identify that this is not the correct answer, you would say, oh my God, we just overlooked it. Okay, so I hope that is clear now. I just want to check that the chart. So this is one kind of summary completion task. There's another kind of summary completion task, and for that you have to read this Meerkat study. I hope Abdurrahman has already read it. Amjad, you might not have read it. So I want you to please read it and read sentence by sentence and just think over the meaning. Don't just go very fast. And Abdurrahman, take this opportunity to have a relook onto it. This is a very simple passage. You may not feel any difficulty in that.
Okay.
So Abdurrahman, sorry, Amjad, please read aloud.
Okay. Meerkat study. Dr. Alex Thornton from the University of Cambridge recently led a study into meerkat life. Meerkats are highly social monkeys that live in large social groups and take turns foraging for food and standing guard to look out for predators. Research has shown that the animals have their own traditions within their group.
Okay, before
For
you move on,
example,
can you tell me, Abdurrahman, meerkats are highly social mongooses that live in large social groups and take turns foraging for food and standing guard to look out. What does this mean? Especially uh, after this point, and take turns foraging for food and standing guard. What does it mean?
Okay, I think
Mm-hmm.
it means that this animal and they work as a group. Some of them and as some of them foraging or eating something,
Yeah,
others will.
search for food, and while other they stand, and then
Mm-hmm.
they stand as a guard, right? And then
Yes.
other group, the first group who was which was foraging for food, it will take turn as a guard, and then other will start eating. So
Uh-huh.
that's fine. No, like we offer praise in the wartime. Okay, that's
Yeah.
like that. Okay. So now, for example, while members of one meat troop, sorry, I have taken over. I just can't resist myself. So now, for example, while members of one meat troop will consistently rise, research has shown that animals have their own traditions within a group. For example, while members of one meerkat troop will consistently rise very early, those of another will emerge from their burrows much later in the morning. So what does this sentence mean? This example, Amjad.
it means they are quite composed of working or staying in groups
Mhm.
or one it is said that a few troops like rise very early and if you consider the vice versa situation the others will be waking quite late.
Okay. Uh, Actually, you can say that uh, 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 like if I pass a journal statement about all the meerkats, like all the lions, like all the monkeys, that monkeys get up very early in the morning, that will be a false statement in case of meerkats.
Right.
It says that every group of meerkats have a different tradition. You can't say that all the meerkats have the same tradition. If there's one group, it's like a family, it gets up very early in the morning. The other family maybe have an habit of coming late in the morning. I hope
Right.
you understood it this way. If you didn't, then it's alarming. Now, in an attempt to assess whether meerkats simply copy these behavior patterns or are taught these patterns are taught to them, this person and his team traveled to the Kalahari Desert and set a series of tests for a group in the wild. One test involved putting a scorpion, that is the meerkat's favorite food, into a transparent container, maybe a jar or something. The meerkats had to work out how to open the opaque lid of the container. What do we mean by opaque lid? Opaque means that is not see-through. Like there's a the glass is transparent. You can see through glass. Like if I take a bottle, okay, or a jar, and I cover its opening with a lid of tin, then you can very easily see through what is there in the jar, but you cannot see through this lid. Okay, that is opaque lid of a container in order to reach the scorpion. So the test of meerkat was there was a scorpion inside the jar or container, and meerkat sitting outside can see the scorpion. But now they had to decide that how to reach to the scorpion. So they had to obviously open the jar or open the lid for that. So the test showed that the more subordinate juvenile, that means young members of the meerkat groups, are the most innovative when it comes to foraging. They are really innovative. They can generate new techniques. These low ranking males were best at solving problems and obtaining the treat. That means what was the problem given to them? To open the lid. And what was treat? That means scorpion. Now, however, Dr. This conceded that meerkats didn't ever appear to work out that it was the opaque surface of the box that they should attack, in preference to the transparent ones. He said that, well, these young members could somehow find the way to reach to the scorpion, maybe by kicking, by rolling, by breaking, but it was never you can say well thought act in which could indicate that, well, now scorpion knows how to open the opaque part. Okay, so this was just a hit and trial method. It was not a proper learning. So this may simply be evidence of persistence rather than actual intelligence. So this is not an actual intelligence in which one learns how to open a part or what is the good solution of something. It is just by hit and trial method. That's it. So now let's move forward and see another summary completion task. And this summary completion task does not have some options of possible answers. So in this kind of summary completion task, you have to pick words from the passage. Is this point clear? There are two types of summary completion tasks. In one type of summary completion task, there's a separate heading. And in other kind of summary completion task, there's no heading. And actually, there are no options. Heading might be there, but there are no possible answers. So in the previous in the previous exercise that we just attempted, we had a list of possible answers. So we didn't choose word from the passage. We actually chose word from the given options. Here, in this case, we don't have any options, so we have to choose word from the passage. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
A recent study at Cambridge University discovered that different meerkat groups dash at different times of the day.
Rise.
Uh-huh.
Meerkat group is woke up.
Wow. So is this word woke up there? No?
Merge.
There are two possible answers. One is rise and other is emerge.
Okay.
Both of them are correct. Okay, because question uses only one verb, but the sentence given in the passage uses two verbs to describe the same meaning. So we can write any of these words. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
That different meerkat groups rise or emerge at different times of the day. This demonstrates that each group has distinct customs. They also learned that young male meerkats were more dash than other members of their social groups when it came to problem solving?
Innovative.
Innovative, right. So the researchers conducted an experiment where the meerkats had to try to open a container. If they did, they were rewarded with a
Scorpion.
Scorpion.
scorpion, one thing, and another possible answer, problem solving and obtaining the treat.
Treat.
Treat is
Right.
another
No.
option. Rewarded with a treat, that is better option actually. But
Yes.
scorpion is also good. Is also correct. Now, however, they also found that the meerkats never learned that it was the dash part of the container that they needed to open.
Opaque.
Opaque part. Yeah, we talked about it. It was, talked about and discussed about in the last sentence. That was doctor's conclusion. So now, this doctor, not our doctor. Okay, that's all. We have covered all everything that we required to know for reading test. Now we just have to sum up all these skills and apply these skills smartly on the practice test. So in my classes, I give two tests at the end of each section. Like we talked, we started writing. So towards the end of writing session, I give two tests. But unfortunately, my good class, they didn't return me any of the answers. So I tried it in the speaking lessons as well, and all of them went on leave. So now I've decided that I will not give you any test in reading session. In fact, I will start listening session from tomorrow, inshallah. And after covering listening section, maybe in 5 days, hopefully I'll cover it in 5 days, we will have complete tests, like all of these tests, reading, writing, speaking, listening, all of these tests. And in that, I will assess your performance and I will obviously give you tips and feedback. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sure,
Right.
sir.
For Amjad, you need a different class, a separate class with me for general training, specific to general. There are some lessons specific to general training. So I'll teach those lessons to you separately whenever I get time. But hopefully this will be done after 12th of September, not before that.
Okay,
Inshallah.
sir. Sure.
Okay, so good luck, everyone. Please go through all these notes once again before you start, before you come for tomorrow. Try to have a good grip on the reading test. And if you have time, just go to any of the free internet sources and try to attempt some reading test just to assess yourself. Where do you stand now?
Right, sir.
Okay, so take care, everyone. No, what's time,
I
by
have
the
a
way?
small request to make.
Sorry?
It's 10:30. It's 10:30, and I have a small request to make.
Yeah.
That send me the videos of last 3 lectures
I
from
have sent
Friday.
you, sir. I have sent you, sir.
Okay.
Just before the
I will
class.
check my email.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll.
No, actually, I've sent it just before the class. Okay.
Okay, sure.
So, Abdurrahman,
Thanks.
I've sent you previous videos as well. You can see there were some
Yeah.
lessons you missed. I'm not sure which one of them you missed. Okay. Please check it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Welcome. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
All right.